Continuing with the ongoing research, in today's video, I want to pick up an article that I was reviewing, a couple of articles related to the research on entheogens, and more specifically on this third one that and last one that I'm doing on this specific article. I want to approach the theme, the idea, the concept of these quote-unquote DMT entities. What is their nature? Why are we looking at them? What are they? Where are they? Who are they? We don't really know about this, but since this article is all about how DMT psychedelics are being taken seriously to be applied in a therapeutical medical setting, all of these things are starting to be discussed. I find it quite interesting and funny that in the same article that it is approached the whole idea of how they're going to be having these small therapy sessions and integration sessions for people with more of a psychological background and so on and so forth. Very normal, very procedural. And then at the end of the article, they swoop in the idea of, oh yeah, there's these entities that help you with stuff. We don't know who are they, what are they, where are they, if they are real or not, but let's talk about the entities. So I found the whole thing quite interesting and a little bit funny at the same time because, we're starting to talk about Big Pharma investing and, like it is a business. But we have such little talk about the implications of the existence of these beings which seem to be out of reality itself, which seem to be out of the physical world itself, out of the time, space setting framework of reality that we understand. And these entities which are they can be tricky and playful and wise, and they care about people, and it seems to be the correlation with the experiences, and this may be the same beings that we are calling aliens or angels or guides or so on and so forth. So in this video I'm going to be approaching that. What actual research do we have about it? What can we make of these quote-unquote entities? Before I move forward, I would like to remind you that if you want to join the growing discussion on consciousness and would like to be notified on the latest scientific discoveries and theories surrounding this topic and how they connect to ancient mythologies and philosophies, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, as I'll try to upload at least one video per week as I continue with the outline. Alright, so this is where I left off last time I was looking into this. DMT can really blow your mind. Rick Strassman, adjunct associate professor of psychiatry at the University of New Mexico School of Medicine and author of DMT, The Spirit Molecule, is one of the most famous research pieces on DMT. Till futurism, you can attain insights, remember things that you previously weren't aware of, which could be influencing or causing your depression. In fact, he says, one surprising element of DMT trips that could help those with major depressive disorder are the aforementioned entities, often known as elves, which are beings that many DMT users say they encounter during their trips. Now, we're talking about this serious research on the DMT experience, talking about quote-unquote entities. This is the core of the DMT experience. This is the most surprising factor of it. This is the kahuna of it. People don't know what they are facing when they are going into these trips. Now, there is research about these quote-unquote entities. When you're in the DMT world, they just appear, Strassman explained. They can coalesce or merge out of the swirling geometric forms going on. They can also look like anything: aliens, beasts, a cactus, a machine, a robot, or an African warrior princess. We start going into the realm of fantasy. aliens. I've been talking about aliens in this channel, but they can become as anything. And some people think about them as some sort of robots or androids or things of that nature. An African warrior princess, themes of mythology, themes of religions. They say, even Terence McKenna said that these are self-transforming beings which can appear in one way or another. Very much like in near-death experiences, people just see blank slates. They see beings of light without a face. And a lot of people during the DMT experience also can see them as just blank slates. They are simply beings. And it is very likely that we are talking about a realm that is non-physical. So however they appear to a specific person really has no relevance but to the person themselves. He says, if you subscribe to the notion that the entities are there to help you, then there's a good chance they help you to specific psychological issues like major depression or PTSD. Now, this is interesting because why do these entities want to help you? And this is a core theme in these altered state of consciousness experiences, also in near-death experiences. It seems that all these beings that people are encountering have some agenda to help improve the lives of the people they meet. Why is this? Of course, there are some bad trips. There are the negative experiences that I've covered in this channel as well. I'm going to link one of my theories. I've spoken in length about these negative trips because I went through them in detail because they were very interesting to me. One of the conclusions that I gather from that is that it seems that what people perceive as bad trips are part of this healing process, where people are facing their demons in a way. And it is by this negative experience where they can truly realize and understand something that perhaps is wrong or not congruent with the things that they are set upon. This whole thing ties into the idea that our lives as human beings have some sort of value in the larger scheme of things. I've talked about this. I touched upon this as well, talking about some of the evidence on the meaning of life. I'm gonna link that video below and somewhere on the screen right now. But here's the interesting part. So if we talk about these aliens or beasts or entities or from people who are doing quote unquote the drugs and so on and so forth, we might think that all of these are hallucinations. All of this is nonsense. This is from the realm of fairy tales, and these should be banned. And this is why these drugs were banned. But there is actual research as he goes on. He says this isn't just anecdotal. A 2020 study published in the Journal of Psychopharmacology, for instance, surveyed 2,500 individuals who encountered entities after taking an intravenous or inhaled dose of DMT. The researchers discovered the majority of respondents attributed emotions like love, kindness, and joy to the entities. 2,500 individuals in this official survey in 2020. This is the thing that I'm gonna go in just a minute. This is so recent. This is 2 years ago. A lot of people don't even know about this study. And as I said, as people are, Terence McKenna, he explains these beings as mantis-like beings, self-transforming robots. Some people see them as monsters, African warrior princess. Some people who might be from a religious background might think of these beings as angels or Jesus himself. They subscribe to these notions that these entities can come in different ways, and all of this might seem a little bit scary for a lot of people. Sometimes Terence McKenna uses the term insectoid-like beings. I've also I've talked about this before. I have a video on this theory that, you know, these beings are there to farm your negative emotions, and they're like insects and whatnot. I've talked about this before, but the fact is, what the research is showing is that people can see them in many different ways, and sometimes they are self-transforming entities which can come in one way or another. They come out, they coalesce from the geometric shape that people are seeing. So we're talking about non-physical space where people can interpret these beings most likely. But despite the high strangeness of this phenomenon, everything seems to be about love, kindness, and joy, very much like in near-death experiences. That is the ultimate message that a lot of people are receiving. So there's a positive underlying truth, underlying reality to the whole phenomenon. This is very important to understand, because we're dealing with something that could make a lot of people afraid or uneasy, and so on and so forth. I talked about this as well. I'm going to try to link it on the screen. All these videos, I'm going to link them below. I talked about this, how despite aliens or hell or negative things, it all seems to be about what they are calling love. Okay, so it goes on to say about how the participants tend to attribute positive growth-associated labels to these entities, such as being, guide, spirit, alien, again, and helper. This is what I'm saying. These beings are there to help people. The encounters with these beings were among the most meaningful, spiritual, and psychological insightful experiences of their lives. People who come from these experiences are very affected by them in a positive way most of the times. There's something interesting here, which is probably what I'm going to use for the name of this video, is that a lot of participants who identified as atheists before the experience no longer identified as such after an encounter with the entity. So a lot of the negative feedback that I get on my channel, on my social media, is like, oh yeah, go tell your angels to help you, or something of that nature. And what I usually reply is, I'm not talking about this. It goes beyond what your basic conception of perhaps Christianity is so far as attributing. I'm talking about the research on these beings, on these things that go beyond our current notion and understanding of reality. So I goes on to say what I've been mentioning. If you're Catholics, you might believe these beings are angels sent by God to help you, or Buddhists might believe that they are a part of an enlightenment experience. So I've also gone into this research a little bit, going from near-death experiences on Eastern countries. People see their devils. Whatever is in their mythology, they meet their devils, they meet their Maya, and so on and so forth. There are also the cases from Buddhists who were like practicing Buddhists and they saw Jesus, for example. All of this could be part of this general collective subconscious mind. There have been many attempts to introduce Christianity in Eastern nations. So all of these ideas might be in the mind of people who go through these experiences, someone who has a near-death experience and who is a practicing Buddhist, but knows about the idea of Jesus and how some people are claiming that Jesus is the real God, and perhaps something bad is going to happen if you don't actually believe in Jesus, and better believe in your own prophet, which in this case would be Siddhartha. So they happen to see Jesus in their near-death experience. As I said, as Terence McKenna put it, these are self-transforming beings, and a lot of people simply see blank slates. I remember in the Jeff Mara podcast, he had someone talking about these beings of light who directly asks them, so what are you? Are you angels? Are you aliens? What exactly are you? And they reply, people can see us as many things. We are whatever you are comfortable of your understanding of us. Whatever you think is best that we are, we can be that. So we're talking about blank slates. We're most likely, as I said, talking about a non-physical realm and just consciousness, what I would call packets of consciousness, what Tom Campbell would call individual units of consciousness, perhaps being represented to us as individuals. Lastly, this article touches upon the idea of psychological problems or trauma or psychosis and so on and so forth. As Rick Strassman puts it, this is not likely. A lot of people, most of the people are having positive experiences. Most of the people are, being highly affected in a positive way by these experiences. Although there are the cases, as I've been speaking about, there are negative experiences, and this most likely has to do with their own personal understanding of it, where especially if your family or if you or your family have history of mental health problems, people who just simply cannot understand, cannot manage the idea, this ontological shock, as it's called in this next article that I'm going to be looking into. They just simply cannot handle it. This is why a lot of people say there's a lot of preparation to these experiences, and there's a little bit of ritual and a little bit of understanding of the whole scheme of things before you go into these experiences, because while they are looking at it in a more therapeutical, a very scientific way to look at it, we might be tapping into something that is going to change our very understanding of reality itself and us as human beings. This is what I've been talking about in this channel. Okay, this is about Rick Strassman. Well, he's wary of over-glorifying the potential benefits of DMT. He believes that it can ultimately be a bold and trippy way of dealing with the pain and trauma we humans regularly encounter in the real, non-spirit world. We need to be just and righteous and kind and compassionate, he said, and keep our eyes open about what's around the corner. This is the whole idea, that we have to be righteous and kind and compassionate. It's all about love. That's what all these people are saying. So this is the core of the research. It's mainly the idea of this research is to help people who have deep depression, who have mental trauma, who cannot recover from all these things, to improve mental health. A lot of people dealing with mental health, and as time goes by, more and more people are having mental health has become one of the biggest issues of our generation, of our time. So the idea of these therapeutic sessions can affect it. But as I've been speaking about in this channel, it has to do with understanding reality, understanding who we are, understanding that, understanding the ultimate scheme of things, and getting a little bit of meaning into our lives in a very nihilistic society. I think that's what the core of it is. And if this is the hook, if this is the excuse to start this research, it's fine. They might go in to treat, depression or something. They might end up figuring out what's really behind the bill. Alright, so this next article that I found, I think I've already seen this article before. I've already approached it. I'm not really sure if I made a video on it, but I've definitely seen this article before. So this is a big thing on May 20, 2020. This is 2 years ago from the making of this video. Why the DMT helps, quote unquote, people meet while tripping. As I've been saying, this is not just something that happens to a few people or just randomly. This is something that is a cornerstone of the psychedelic, the Entheogen experience. Why do so many people encounter these elves after smoking large doses of DMT? Okay, so as I said, this is this bigthing.com, this is mainstream media, but what this article is based upon is the actual research that I'm gonna link a little bit below. So I go, psychedelic drug DMT can conjure powerful visions in low dose. People often hallucinate fractal patterns, geometric shapes, and distortions in the physical space around them, but things get much stranger with higher doses. The breakthrough experience. Commonly, they encounter beings commonly known as elves that seem autonomous, existing in a reality separate from our own. The form and nature of DMT else vary in reports, but one thing remains curiously constant. People tend to rank these encounters among the most meaningful experiences of their lives. Some people, these encounters change their beliefs about reality, the existence of an afterlife, and God, the ultimate reality. People see these elves in different ways, different form and nature. Aliens, bees, African warrior princesses, machine elves, whatnot. This is what the whole thing is about. So, as I said, this whole thing, both of these articles are based on this research. A recent survey provides some of the most detailed information about these encounters to date, published in the Journal of Psychopharmacology. Survey includes a response rate 2,500. The other article says 2,561 adults about their single most memorable encounter with a being or beings after smoking or vaporizing DMT. The endogenous chemical in the body produces it naturally. This is another belief hasn't been 100% proved, but this is an idea that we have. This is from a 2013 research that was done in mice or rats, where they actually proved that mammals can generate DMT in the brain, the pineal gland, but it has not been confirmed for humans. However, they have found DMT traces in blood and in different parts of humans. Okay, so it's currently a Schedule 1 drug in the US. Schedule 1 means that it's not approved for free consumption. What this means is that this is not an approved substance. This is not to be given, not even with prescription or anything like that. This is not approved by the institutions. However, this might start to change with this. I've been saying these clinical trials that have been done lately by this testing of medical DMT on human subjects. This might be about to change, and that would be huge for the research on consciousness and for the very understanding of who we are as human beings. Okay, so just to close upon this a little bit, I just want to click this link really quick. So if anybody is interested, those who are saying, oh, this is just YouTube, or oh, this is just mainstream blog, right here it is. You can link I'm gonna link these articles below. You can go into the articles, you can go into the links, and this is the actual research. As I've been saying, this is, as this article says, this is not only anecdotal evidence. There is much more anecdotal evidence about this. If you just go through the forums and just read 10 or 50 or 100 or 1,000 reports, there are way more than that. I don't know how they are on all of the internet, maybe 1 million, I don't know, but you will find the same things in each of them, but they are just anecdotal evidence until an official survey, an official piece of research is done and then is published on a journal, which is this journal SageMap, a survey of entity encounter experiences occasioned by inhaled dimethyltryptamine. And here you can find the whole thing. 2,561 individuals, means age 32 years, 77% male, so on and so forth. All the information about all of these can be found below. Like, I'm not gonna read through all of this because I've done a lot of research on this on my own, but anyone who is doubting and who is just using that argument that I spoke about before, that oh, this is just YouTube, this is just blogs, it's not true, maybe when I see it on a textbook that is going to be outdated the next year I'll believe it, is right here. This is the research. Alright, so just going back, what they do in this article is they kind of make it easier to understand the research. So I highlighted the basics of the research here. So the encounters produce an emotional response for 99% of the people. This was a deeply emotional experience, meaningful experience. The encounters felt more real than reality. This is something that people say a lot through these altered states of consciousness, also in near-death experiences. There was an indescribably powerful notion, this dimension in which the entity and I combined was infinitely more real than the consensus reality I usually inhabit. It felt truer than anything else I'd ever experienced. A lot of people who go through near-death experiences say this. The interesting thing about near-death experiences is that people often encounter their relatives who have passed on, or people who were important to them in their lives. They sometimes see even their children, if they die, if they have this near-death experience and they have small children, sometimes they see them as grown adults, and so on and so forth. Things that have defied the rule set of reality as we conceive it. What I find interesting about this little quote here is that this dimension in which the entity and I combined, that this is an encounter with the entity. I made a sort of a video about this where I talked about who are the people in your dreams. I started noting in my own dreams that I see people from my past, I see people that I met throughout my life, and we are in different settings, and they are often in my dreams, they are trying to make me feel comfortable, they are trying to help me with things, and I see them as different people every time. Sometimes the same persons, like a childhood friend that I no longer see, or something of that nature. Sometimes it's just completely different people that I've never ever met, or things that this sort of thing. I spoke about this. I'm going to link it below. I think what we are seeing is a larger encounter of consciousness, and if we go through the notion that we are not ourselves, we're not our egos, we're more than who we think we are, this little encounter is quite interesting. I'm gonna go into it a little bit further as I go through this research. Okay, so people describe the entities in different ways, as I'm saying. A being, guide, spirit, alien. This is right here. A lot of people are not ready to accept the idea of the UFO phenomenon. It has to do with the afterlife, or with the underlying reality that we are seeing. We have to start to understand this as part of the same phenomenon. So I made a video on the contact modalities, how all of these altered state of consciousness experiences are tying together. A lot of people... So now we have the research. This is the research. This is one of the most recent pieces of research that has come out in the research on consciousness in the forums. A lot of people, when they start to get into this research, start asking, well, what did you see in your experience? Did you see an angel? Are angels real? Is the Buddha real? Is Jesus real? Are these gnomes real? What is the truth? Are they really angels? What are they? What we see in the research is that people are describing these entities with different labels. It has to do with their interpretation, and it doesn't matter. As I mentioned before on that Jeff Mara episode, these beings, they don't really care. They say whatever helps, whatever works for you, we can be. You can interpret us, you can understand us as whatever you want. As I've been saying, it seems that it's a non-physical realm where things can appear in any way that we might perceive them, or we might feel more comfortable. So this is what I'm saying, as I mentioned, who are the people in our dreams. Does it matter if they are people who have passed before us? Does it matter if they are just friends that we met before? Does it matter if some people see celebrities, some people see different beings who communicate with them? In the larger scheme of things, if we are not our bodies, if we are not really our egos, we are just this consciousness as a whole, perhaps it doesn't really matter who they are. As I said, this goes more for philosophy, practical philosophy. I'm going to be making this video in the future. Okay, most people said the beings weren't hallucinations, they were more real than real. We gone through that. Most describe the beings positively. As I've been saying, most of the experiences have been positively. I'm gonna link below on my theory on negative experiences, negative trips, negative hellish NDE experiences. It seems that people, when they go through these negative experiences, this is a way in which they interpret what's happening to them. And another thing that is interesting or important to realize, to put into context, is that in near-death experiences, in out-of-body experiences, and even in some of these entheogen-based experiences, people have a lot of agency in what happens. They can control somewhat, in some way, these trips, these experiences with their thoughts. They start to be afraid things in their experience might change, and their interpretation of the whole experience could be negative. So there's that aspect to it as well. Okay, this is something of the most interesting things. Most received a message during the encounter, a message, task, mission, purpose, or insight from the entity encounter experience. As I said, we have a little bit of evidence of what the whole thing might be about, what kind of messages. Some people were shown that death isn't the end, that everything and everyone is connected. Others had personal insights revealed to them, such as bad behaviors that they should stop. Some messages were strangely practical. One respondent said that beings revealed the location of a Zippo lighter that had been missing. It was buried deep in a couch. Go figure. There was also a respondent who said a being was teaching me the rules, regulations of the NFL. Now this opens a little bit of the counter argument that all of these are just hallucinations, so on and so forth. A lot of people that come from the experiences say that the message is pretty simple. Everything is about love. Do not overcomplicate yourself and go live your life. Go make music, go make art, go be good to others, because that is what it's all about. It's only an experience. It's some of the conclusions that some of the other experiences have had. The encounters were often followed by lasting changes in well-being and beliefs. About 1/4 of the respondents said they were atheists before the encounter, but only 10% said they were after. Additionally, approximately 1/3, 36% of respondents reported that before the encounter, their belief system included a belief in ultimate reality, higher power, God, or universal divinity. But a significantly larger percentage, 58% of respondents, reported this belief system after the encounter. So if they didn't believe in anything, now they believe in something. And as I've been saying, I'm probably gonna name this video something about, just alluding to these atheists who changed their worldview through this experience, because we live in a very secular, very nihilistic society today, where science is our current god. Anytime any of this research comes about, people ridicule it. People think of it as fairy tales, and they start attacking anyone who is going into this research. I had this myself a lot, of course, but the actual research is suggesting that a lot of people who actually go to the experience, they're coming out as believers. Does this mean that angels are real? Does this believe that the Abrahamic religions are real? No, this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about real research of some of the underlying reality of things. We're not talking about a specific religion. We're not talking about the law of attraction. We're talking about the underlying reality of what might be happening based on the stacking reports of these experiences. Why is this happening? Why are people changing their mind? I like this phrase. It's the ontological shock. It's the change of the paradigm of reality that they encounter through this experience. This happened to me just going through the research and just seeing it over and over and over and over again, and then tying together with ancient philosophies and tying together with newer theories on quantum physics. It becomes very clear when you go through the research, and you get a very clear idea of what's going on, or what all of these things are all about. Now the big question is, so this is, the study also noted that DMT encounters have a lot in common with near-death experiences and alien abduction experiences. I've been saying we're talking about the same thing. This is the concept of the contact modalities from Ray Hernandez and their free study. They're saying that all of these things are happening because we need them right now. There's something going on, and everything is tying together, trying to understand this larger reality, the idea that death is not the final phase, and there's something going in our world. There's purpose, there's meaning, there is something happening in our world that we have to understand at this point in our evolution. So they go over on this. It's also worth noting that not all people who smoke DMT see beings, and some see beings that look nothing like elves or aliens. It depends on everyone. And as I've been saying, a lot of people are just not allowed to have this experience. How interesting is this? Only some people are allowed to have the experience, not all of them. So perhaps there's a barrier on the door, and not everyone is allowed to do this. This James Kent guy, maybe he was just not given the information that people like the author of the channel 434 is being given. Some people who go through near-death experiences get just some information. Some people get more information than that, and they come back with the stories. So in other words, if DMT beings exist in some other dimension, they appear the same to anyone who visits that dimension. These are all questions because they implicate. So in this other article, they talk about, oh yeah, this could be highly beneficial for therapeutic purposes. Yes, but no. What we're talking about is the implications of the existence of these entities. Implications of our conception of reality. So if people go to this dimension, they look all the same. This could be like an easy counter argument to the whole thing. No, because this is a non-physical realm of existence. So the physicality that you see, it's non-relevant. It doesn't matter what they look like if they are non-physical. These beings assume a different appearance based on who's looking. Exactly. Depends on the person's personal filters. There are many types of beings in the DMT universe, but most look like elves. What are we really talking about? You might start seeing elves just trying to sort this stuff out. This is mind-boggling. This is mind-breaking. And as the research is there, as things start to become more official, we need to start going into these questions. This is why in this channel I have the pragmatic philosophy aspect of it, where I try to tackle these questions, and they're based upon the research. Ultimately, nobody knows exactly why DMT beings take the forms they do, or whether they're just figments of overstimulated imaginations, and the answers might be beside the point. So this is just like sweeping it under the rug because people don't have the answers. But as I've been saying, if you have the all of the other research, you can start tying things together. This is a non-physical reality we're talking about, so it doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter if the people who near their experiences meet their family members who have passed on. It doesn't matter if they look 30, because we're talking about a non-physical reality. In the recent survey, 60% of participants said their encounter with DMT beings produced a desirable alteration in their conception of reality, whereas only 1% indicated a non-desirable alteration in their conception of reality. All of this is for positive reasons. Most of the experiences are positive, trying to teach us something about what comes in the life after life. Now, it closes with this. DMT elves may be nothing more than projections of the subconscious mind, but these bizarre encounters do help some people find real meaning, whether it's through personal revelation or the raw power of ontological shock. So this is a little bit of the idea of we don't have the answers, but the thing is positive, so we might start to sell it as therapeutic sessions. So if it's all positive, it doesn't matter. It does matter. Because trying to truly understand this, the implications of all of this could change our very understanding as human beings, as the world. As I said in my previous video, if we start looking into all of this and we start looking at the implications and what all of this means for being human, for being alive, for the meaning and purpose of this reality, of this world, of these lives, we might understand how silly and stupid could be to invade another country or to kill each other for these stupid political reasons. Not only that, so it says the subconscious mind. What we have to, perhaps this is nothing more than the projections of the subconscious mind. This is not the question. The question is, what exactly is the subconscious mind? What exactly is this unified field of consciousness? What exactly is consciousness? If you're on the path of finding the truth about reality and our purpose as humans on Earth, the information that I have to share concerns you. After a lifetime of research in philosophies ranging from Buddhism to the occult, I've encountered themes and patterns along some baffling information that is beginning to be seriously studied by science. A Rational Divine Outline, The Ghost of Jesus, is the first iteration of this project, where I analyze the message of Jesus without dogmatism, fanaticism, or religious bias. You can find my work available on Amazon on the link below. If you find this work valuable, consider subscribing, sharing, and following me on social media, as it will help others in the same path to find this information. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.